Good morning. It is 6:03. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Miss Erin getting local news ready right now.
It's a big weekend for our community. Lots of glitz and glam. We'll talk more about that. The MPC will make a few changes. We'll have that coming up. And the House passes a budget. OMG. Lots of slashing.
No kidding. We've got Miss Teen USA. We've got Miss USA. That's on Monday. A budget goes to the governor. We're going to talk to Jay Darden, Commissioner of Administration. He's not going to be on now?
He's on, but not this hour.
No, I was later this morning.
Yes.
Hold your horses,
okay.
Antsy girl.
Got a big one this hour.
And who's that? Oh, Jim Henderson. Dr. Jim is going
bet.
to join us. And you got more emails from more policemen. We're going to talk about that, too.
Did we ever?
Fletcher and sports and traffic and weather, and it's all coming up this hour, and it's coming up on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Miss USA taking over Shreveport-Bossier. Matt Parker with that.
Over the next few days, George's Pond at Hirsch Coliseum will be hosting Miss USA and Miss Teen USA. It's the first time ever that the two events will be held in the same city at the same time. Today at 4 p.m. is the start of the Miss Teen USA Finals. That event will be streamed live on the Miss USA Facebook page. The Miss USA pageant will air live on Fox Monday night at 7. The events are expected to generate at least $4.5 million for the city. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Dozens of contractors and business owners calling for changes to the MPC in Caddo. A second town hall meeting attempting to incite some change, and the group voices concerns that red tape and lack of action is killing business in our community. Many claim the MPC causes projects to take too long to complete, which ends up costing them too much money. Now, they made over 50 suggestions of ways the MPC could operate better and make it easier to do business in the city. The MPC director has pledged to make some adjustments. Caddo has a new director of animal services. Travis Clark gets the job. The commission voted unanimously to hire Clark for the position. Clark previously worked in several different jobs at Caddo Animal Services before taking a director's position in California. Clark officially takes over on Monday. Lawmakers on the House side passed a budget that fully funds the Department of Health but reduces 9 state agencies' budgets by 24% and slashes higher ed spending. It also cuts TOPS to 70% coverage. Now, the jury's still out on whether the governor will veto the plan, but if he approves it, House Appropriations Chairman Cameron Henry says it won't be imaginary.
Assuming it's not vetoed by the governor, this will become law. During a special session, if members choose to raise some additional revenue, we will do a supplemental bill to backfill some of these agencies that have been reduced. But this bill is law.
Now, it would be clear concealed carry permit holders in Louisiana are allowed to bring their firearms up to the edge of a school campus under a measure now headed to the governor. The House has given final passage to that proposal by a vote of 88-6. Activists on both sides of the abortion debate anticipating a renewed fight as the Department of Health and Human Services plans to announce a proposal today to reimpose a Reagan-era ban on federally funded family planning clinics discussing abortion with women. Department of Child and Family Services kicking off a new foster parent recruitment campaign. It's an annual push to increase awareness of the importance of the system. Child Welfare Manager Christy Tate says the campaign is built around a message of teamwork.
We're looking for foster parents who can come alongside us to support a family for a child. We're a team, and we want to use a team approach.
7,868 children part of the DCFS's foster care program last year, with only 2,200 certified foster homes. In an amazing feat, 6 Caddo students scored a perfect 36 on their ACTs. All but one of the students attends Caddo Magnet High. The other student attends Byrd. A Florida high school student asked the Crocs Shoe Company to supply foam shoes for her and all her female classmates to wear to graduation because they're comfy. And the company said okay if she got 2018 tweets. She did. The shoes are on the way. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Good morning. It's 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL and traffic time. First one for Friday. Here's Ruben.
Everything's still running pretty clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Hot today, partly sunny with a high near a record of 94 set in 1883. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Good morning, 11 past 6 o'clock. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. That KEEL app is always a free download from Office Furniture Source. So what's the latest on Caddo Parish? Deputies and Shreveport Police and everybody and all the Shreveport policemen, or at least the ones I spoke to, are going, I'm not sure this is that good. This is like an insult.
Yeah, I got some more text yesterday afternoon, too, and they're
Bring
upset.
Folks up to date. Grab those texts and or emails that you received. But as of yesterday, and we had spoken yesterday morning early to Caddo Parish Sheriff Steve Prater, and he was saying, look, it's he literally said they should be glad to have us, i.e., we are here to help. We're not here to step on anybody's toes.
Right.
We want to do the I don't want to say little stuff, but we want to make it easier for Shreveport police to handle the, for lack of a better term, heavy lifting, the serious stuff, of which you must admit there's a ton of in town lately. Well, let's start there.
Yeah.
As grisly, as grim, as tasteless as it may seem, who got shot last night?
There was another shooting. Just didn't put it in the news. I hate to say that, because it would be in every other story. You know, another violent episode. Something happened, I think, midnight. You know, somewhere they had another episode. They're investigating still.
Right.
It's horrific. And, you know, anytime there's a shooting in your family, it is a major tragedy. And I understand that. And when I hear people say that crime is down, yeah, if you look year to year, crime is down. But right now we're having a spike.
Perception is reality.
Yeah.
Ask anybody on the streets of Shreveport if crime is down and see what they say. And that is, not only is that the mayor's problem, that's Shreveport's problem. And well, you received a couple more texts yesterday.
Yeah, this is an interesting
Do you want to
point.
name these?
No, not this one.
See, we had talked about yesterday. You had received a couple of messages from police union boss Michael Carter.
Mm-hmm.
I had spoken to a couple of Shreveport policemen on Wednesday night, and they both basically said the same thing. We know what to do. The problem is, let us do our jobs.
Yeah.
Get off our backs. Turn us loose, for lack of a better term.
Take the cuffs off.
And there are a number of, I assume they're referring to a number of policies in place currently that a lot of officers, Mr. Carter, is he lieutenant now? I don't know. Sergeant Carter.
Sergeant, I believe.
Is
but he's a doctor.
Feels as though Shreveport's finest are being restricted in performing their duties.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. One of them is the pursuit policy, that they do not let them pursue suspects in cars unless they know they've committed a major crime. But I got this from I'm just going to say this is a higher up within the police department.
What was that? Wait,
inside the department.
Inside?
Yeah.
So this is a Shreveport police, and let's say officer, like high up guy.
Yeah, let's say above lieutenant. Let's go there.
All right.
Okay?
Not many of those.
SPD needs leadership that knows how to police. Fewer than 170, listen to this number, fewer than 170 of 500 officers are assigned to patrol. And they embarrass us by demanding the sheriff help. Why not staff your own department correctly?
Ho, 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 ho.
Listen to this. You have
Hold
500
on.
officers.
Let's read that in total again, please.
SPD needs leadership that knows how to police. Fewer than 170 of 500 officers are assigned to patrol.
So let me figure this out now. 250 would be 50%, 150, 200. Wow. So it's what, 30%, maybe less?
Yeah. And they embarrass us by demanding the sheriff help. Why not staff your own department correctly? I mean, how many desk jockeys do we need? How many people do we need doing office jobs that are trained police officers? You know, this is going to be radical and people will get mad at me for this, but you have school resource officers. When you have an uptick in crime, maybe you don't need school resource officers everywhere. Maybe you put them back out on patrol and say, sorry, you know, we have an uptick in crime. We're going to suspend this program for a minute.
Or at least
put all these
study
people out.
A reallocation of your sources and your manpower.
Yeah.
Something that was not discussed by the mayor at her press conference, at her news conference the other morning.
Nope. And you know, and that's not, you know, when I say that's not her job, it shouldn't be the mayor's job to staff the police department. It should be her police chief. He should be doing that job.
Is it her job to know that?
She should know that, absolutely. And she should raise questions.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Absolutely. She should say, how many do we have on patrol? Is that correct?
Let me phrase
and
it
maybe
this
go
way.
compare. Maybe get a staff member to do some research. What percentage of your officers in Baton Rouge are on patrol? What percentage in Dallas? You know, what percentage in Hot Springs? Whatever.
Let me phrase it this way. If she didn't know Monday, should she have known by Wednesday?
Oh, she probably knows. I mean, she's been there 3 years. She knows how many officers are assigned to the patrol division. I would be shocked if she didn't. I would be very shocked if she didn't, to be honest.
Then what you just said does not serve her well publicly or politically.
But again, do you want a mayor who goes into the chief's office and says, here's how I want you to staff your department? Or do you hire a chief who knows how to do that and does it right and does it effectively? That's the issue. I mean, you don't want a mayor micromanaging the police department. You really don't. She's
micromanaging the police department now by bringing in Caddo Parish deputies.
You've absolutely made a great point. And I don't understand. Have we looked at the management of patrol? Are these figures accurate? Is this correct? Can we do better? Can we move people around and get more people out?
Can't imagine that somebody inside the department is just making those numbers up.
No, they're not. And mind you, you're going to have officers that have to be assigned to the jail. There's some places you have to put them where they're not on patrol. And you're going to have vice and you're going to have detectives.
This is not the first time this topic has come up, though.
No, it comes up all the time.
And in fact, if I recall correctly, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that it was in fact brought up at one point by... Let's go to break, and I'll ask you if you think I should tell this story.
And I also want to talk about how many we're having to hire because we're losing so many.
Okay, we need to discuss this off the air before on.
Yeah.
You may want to put your foot down on this one.
Yeah.
And Dr. Jim Henderson, president of the... what?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You're waving your arm frantically.
I want to know what he wants the governor to veto, if he wants him to line item some things.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were having some sort of...
seizure?
No.
No.
I was worried. I didn't know if I had to... What's the number for 911? Dr. Jim joins us just a bit later this hour. I'm kind of worried down here. 19 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Ruben's here.
Everything's still running pretty clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, partly sunny and hot today with a high near the record of 94 set in 1883. Partly cloudy tonight, low 68. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
You guys okay over there? Kind of panicking already. She's still kind of shaking around. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel Sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Auburn roughed up LSU starter Zach Hess for 5 runs on 6 hits in just 3 innings of work in an 11-4 takedown of the Bayou Bengals. Auburn's Will Holland led the Plainsmen with 4 hits and a pair of RBI to help pull his team into a tie with LSU in the SEC standings at 14-14 in league play. Louisiana Tech's David Leal allowed just 1 run in 7 innings to earn the win in an 11-3 bashing of Old Dominion. The Bulldogs dominated Conference USA's last-place team from the jump, with former Bird Yellow Jacket Steele Netterville ripping a 2-run homer in the bottom of the first. Parker Bates added a 2-run blast in the 3rd inning to make it 4-1. Both Bates and Netterville finished with 4 RBI. Northwestern State overcame a 2-0 deficit to post a 6-3 win at New Orleans. The Demons have won 11 of their last 14 games to move into a tie for 3rd place in the Southland Conference standings. Ridge Heisler earned the win despite giving up a pair of runs in the bottom of the first. And the White Sox rallied to beat Texas 4-2 in Chicago. It's the first win at home since May 3rd for the Sox, who have the worst record in baseball and worst 40-game record in franchise history, but they were better than Texas, even if it was just for one night. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Twenty-four past 6, 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. So what I said to you off the air, he actually said, you recall him saying that.
Oh, absolutely.
And it was Sheriff Steve Frater not so long ago, and he said careful how I phrase this, if he were still running the Shreveport Police Department, there wouldn't be anybody sitting at a desk anywhere.
Yeah. Everybody go roll. Everybody get out there.
I mean, that's basically what he said,
You have
right?
to put them on bicycles, on horseback, in cars, whatever you have to do. Get
There
them out
wouldn't
there.
be anybody at a desk sitting anywhere in the SPD.
Yep. Everybody's rolling today. And there's something to be said about that. Seriously, there's something to be said about when you have, when you have this uptick like we have now, and nobody's denying it. You need a show of force. You need to be in those neighborhoods where you're having hot spots and high crime areas, and you need to be out there walking the neighborhoods. Who told us the other day? Bishop Brandon. He says there's nothing wrong with putting officers out there and let them walk the neighborhoods. What's wrong with that? I mean, officers won't like it, obviously, but and maybe you rotate them. Maybe today you're going to walk a 2-hour shift or whatever. Maybe tomorrow you walk a 4-hour shift. I don't know. I'm not a police officer.
Here's what I'm thinking, because Billy Nungesser wanted to make French Quarter a state park. And he said, we can put a ranger on every corner.
Yeah.
I'm thinking make Allendale a state park, and let's just put a ranger on every corner.
Come on. You're being redonkulous.
Maybe.
My concern is if you have 500 officers, and last year you hired 70, and this year you're having to hire 80.
Where'd they go?
Where are they? That's 150 officers of 500. That's 30% of your staff. 30% of your staff you're having to replace in 2 years.
Michael Carter has always talked about, and it comes down to what are we willing to pay for police service? For police, what are we willing to pay policemen? And he has said for forever and ever that Shreveport policemen make below the Southern average.
Yep. This month alone, we've lost 2 to Bossier, 1 to state police, and it's only May 18th. 3 already gone in May. And you had 1 quit, the one episode where there was trouble for Officer Thomas, and then you have 1 or 2 on paid leave additional. So that's 3 more that are not out there fighting crime. You gotta staffing issues that's a problem. I would be waving a red flag when I have to replace 30% of my staff every 2 years. 30. Imagine if every 2 years one of us has to be replaced.
So you said a couple of seconds ago, the mayor shouldn't have to micromanage the police department.
No, she should not.
But is she micromanaging the police department?
She probably sat down with her chief and said, do you want help from the deputies? And maybe suggested that it was a good idea. Let's try it. And if he probably said, yeah, let's go ahead, I would say, nah, she deferred to him
Chief
probably.
Trump said if, big if, all caps, if Chief Trump said, yes, let's go ahead, do you think he did that knowing that he was probably making a decision against the wishes of perhaps the majority of his force?
Well, I don't know, because he has said no before to this very thing. And we've heard, the sheriff has told me personally that the chief came to a meeting with him at the request of the mayor, sat down with him, the sheriff offered his help, and the chief told him, we don't need your help.
That noise you heard in the background was my phone going off.
Oh, boy.
I suspect it may be something interesting we will review just a bit later. And Dr. Jim Henderson, University System of Louisiana president.
The higher ed cuts could be devastating. Have you seen it?
You can tell me about it in a couple of seconds.
Oh, boy.
29 past 6 o'clock. Erin has local news on the way. Traffic update coming up now. Here's Ruben.
Everything's still running pretty clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Hot today, partly sunny with a high near the record of 94 set in 1883. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Of information. KEEL News now.
Lawmakers pass a budget that fully funds the Department of Health but reduces 9 state agencies' budgets by 24%. It cuts TOPS to 70% coverage and slashes higher ed spending. Democrats have raged against the bill, calling it immoral and calling on lawmakers to reject any budget until a special session arrives to plug the $648 million shortfall. But Cameron Henry, the appropriations chairman, says the state has to work with the money it has available and prioritize.
We have to use the money that we have to cover the priorities, and providing services to the elderly obviously is something that members want to do and feel is a priority.
The budget is now on the governor's desk. State Representative Gene Reynolds of Minden stepping down from his legislative seat. He's landed a state job and will oversee state parks. Reynolds says his resignation from the House will be effective June 4th after lawmakers wrap up a special session that begins on Tuesday. Caddo has a new director of animal services. Travis Clark wins the unanimous vote of the commission. Clark previously worked in several different posts at Caddo Animal Services before taking a director's job in Stockton, California. Clark will officially take over on Monday. Over the next few days, George's Pond at Hirsch Coliseum will host Miss USA and Miss Teen USA. It's the first time ever the two events were held in the same city at the same time. Today at 4 is the start of the Miss Teen USA Finals. Now that event will be streamed live on the Miss USA Facebook page. The Miss USA pageant will air live on Fox Monday night at 7. The event's expected to generate at least $4.5 million for the city. Business owners meet with the MPC for a second time. Matt Parker with that.
Dozens of professionals, contractors, and business leaders are calling for changes to the Metropolitan Planning Commission in Caddo Parish at a second town hall meeting attempting to incite change at the MPC. The group voiced concerns that red tape and lack of action is killing business in Shreveport. They say the MPC causes projects to take too long to complete, which ends up costing them too much money. They made over 50 suggestions of ways the MPC could operate better and make it easier to do business in the city. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A deadly school bus crash in New Jersey has left a community in mourning. Governor Phil Murphy says the school bus was filled with students on a class trip when it crashed.
There were 38 students and 7 adults on the bus, including the driver. A total of 43 people of that 45 were injured and transported to area hospitals for treatment.
1 student and 1 adult died in the crash. In an amazing feat, 6 Caddo Parish students scored a perfect 36 on their ACTs. All but one of the students attends Caddo Magnet High. The other attends Byrd. A war of words continues between 2 college football head coaches. More on that from Matt Napolitano.
University of Central Florida's football team declared themselves national champions following a 13-0 season that culminated in a victory in the Peach Bowl. UCF going all out, raising a banner at their home field, providing Knights players with championship rings. Nick Saban telling USA Today regarding Central Florida, self-proclaimed is not the same as actually earning it. Former UCF, now Nebraska head coach Scott Frost addressed Saban's remarks with KETV.
Alabama's probably got 1 or 2 championships they claim that weren't necessarily recognized by everybody.
Alabama has 17 national titles in football, but many of the early titles were before the modern polling systems existed, opening them up for debate. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
A Montana high school student disciplined for continuing to wear a Confederate flag sweatshirt after administrators requested that he stop wearing it. The 17-year-old was suspended after wearing the sweatshirt to the high school every day since last week. He says he wears it to stand up for students' First Amendment rights. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. You want to hear this? You want to go first? What you want to do?
No, you go ahead.
Jeez. Okay, I'm editing on the fly here, so bear with me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
From a Shreveport police officer. Patrol is terribly understaffed. They pillage patrol to staff desk positions, and it stretches patrol officers so thin that they're just flat worn out. So they don't have the time, nor the resources, nor the gumption to get out there and shake the bushes. I said, too many officers at desks. It sounds like cops are being plucked from the street to man office jobs. Do I understand that correctly? Response: that is 100% correct. Almost daily, they put out advertisements and roll call about detective jobs and other desk jobs. When it's super busy, we have lowly patrol when it's super busy, patrol officers would appreciate a few more supervisors getting out there and helping answer calls.
Ooh.
We've got some people that have not been on patrol in more than 20 years and have no idea how the computers in the cars work.
Oh, goodness.
I said, gross misappropriation of manpower to the detriment of all. And the response is, Whoa. If the patrol is the backbone of the department, we've got a hell of a case of osteoporosis.
Whoa, man. SPD needs milk.
Think of it like the muscled-up guy at the beach with skinny legs. His upper body is the detective office. His patrol is the lower body. Holy cow.
All bulked up at the top.
Biggest problem in
Chicken legs at the bottom.
Yeah.
Man.
So there you go.
Unbelievable.
638, it's 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty in just a couple of seconds. Dr. Jim Henderson, University of Louisiana Systems President. What's the topic this morning with Dr. Jim?
The cuts to higher ed that are in this budget that the governor may sign could be devastating.
The budget, is on the governor's desk.
Yes.
The question is, will the governor veto the budget or not? He has, I understand, a line item veto.
He could, but if he line items something out that puts back money, he's got to cut it somewhere else.
In other words, in simplest form,
it's got to balance.
He's got $10. If he takes one from here, he's got to put one somewhere else.
You bet. So will he go to the trouble of doing that, or will he veto the entire budget and send it back to him and say, fix this?
But the special session is getting ready to start, and they've only got 10 working days, 14 days total. There's no possible way you can run all those budgets through all those committees, get all those approvals, and
I know.
And get voting in less than 2 weeks.
It's a nightmare.
101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, 639 traffic update. Hey, Ruben.
Everything's still running pretty clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Hot today, partly sunny with a high near the record of 94 set in 1883. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Good morning. It's 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. A few minutes with Dr. Jim Henderson. He is the University of Louisiana System President. Hey, Dr. Jim, welcome back to KEEL.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
So, John Bell, the governor, he's got a budget on his desk. Everything's going to be okay now, right?
Well, you know, it's quite a budget he's got on his desk. It defaults on the TOPS promise by students at 70% of what they've already earned and been promised by the state. And, of course, it makes yet another large cut to higher education, to our colleges and universities. So if you like that budget and you think that's the way to prepare for the future, then we ought to live with it. But I don't think anybody agrees with that.
Let me start here. You had to have, I would assume, you and other people around you have seen something like this coming, or is this a surprise?
No, it's not, to me, it's not a surprise at all. And just, you know, you knew that they were going to have a hard time developing a budget under the existing constraints. And those constraints are revenue constraints. Those constraints are structural constraints. And I think everyone knew they were going to have a hard time. The question was, where were the cuts going to fall during this round of budgeting? And so I'm not surprised, and I want to be clear, I'm optimistic that they're going to solve the problem in the special session. I believe that the vast majority of legislators I've spoken to know that talent development is key for our future competitiveness. They know that the TOPS promise is something that, whether you think it's a policy decision, we should fulfill it, or if you think it's a moral decision, we should fulfill it. Either way, I think there's a consensus that it should be fulfilled. And they understand that our colleges and universities already operate at the lowest resource base per student in the nation, and they know that they can't continue to disinvest in talent development if we're going to be successful in the future.
You are not a man without influence, and you are not a man without a telephone. So what do you hear that the governor's going to do with this budget? Veto, sign it, line item stuff? What do you hear?
Well, I don't hear a lot about that. I know he's got 20 days to evaluate and sign the budget. I know that next Tuesday, I just got a notice late yesterday afternoon that he is going to have a conversation with a large population from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I know several elected officials will be there. There'll be some announcements, I think, on his decisions and some other things that are coming. I think we'll have some clarity next Tuesday on what he proposes as a solution.
Dr. Jim, pardon me, but let's go to civics class here for a second. The special session is ready to begin. That's like a total of, I think, 14 days, 10 working days. He's got 20 days to sign or reject or fix the budget. How do those sort of metal...
How do they jibe?
Yeah, going at the same time.
So which budget right now is a baseline. This is what the legislature says. These are our priorities with the resources we have. And so in the special session, if they decide to renew a part of the expiring tax, remember the tax is going down July 1st, and most of the proposals I've seen only restore a portion of it. So we're all going to get a tax break July 1st. And so they have an ability to make a revenue adjustment. They can do some things with some credits. They can clean some pennies. They can do a number of things that are in the call. And they also have the ability to make supplemental appropriations. And so whatever revenue changes they make, whatever they can make a supplemental appropriation, I dare say they could reduce an appropriation, or if they decided they needed to do that. I'm not sure about that. But they have the ability to both appropriate money and to make changes to revenue in the special session.
Let me ask you this. The higher ed cuts. We always hear higher ed cuts, what's cutting? What's getting the slash? What are we going to see happen at our colleges and universities if this budget is implemented?
Well, two things. One, you're going to see, remember, we've seen the largest disinvestment in state support of higher education in the nation. I had a legislator who was referring back to 2004 and saying that should be the baseline that everybody looks at, and we should use CPI as an indicator. Well, when you look at total state support for higher education since 2004, using CPI, we've already been cut $350 million since 2004. And our competitors in other states have been increasing their investment in higher education, both in student support, in instruction, and faculty salaries, and investments in technology and infrastructure. And you're going to see all of those issues that we fall behind on get exacerbated. Am I saying the sky is falling? No. I am saying that we're at a point where a cut of that magnitude is going to have significant negative repercussions on their colleges and universities and the employers that employ our graduates. But the other part of that is you have students that are going to school on a promise made to them by the state of Louisiana. And we're telling them that, you know what, we're only going to fulfill 70% of the promise, even though you've upheld 100% of your end of the bargain. That, to me, is unconscionable, and we've got to remove. If we think TOPS is unsustainable, then change it legislatively, change it in the program itself, but don't just say we're refusing to honor our commitment to students. That's just, to me, is unacceptable.
Let's hone in on LSU, Shreveport, Southern Shreveport, Bipsy. Are we going to see professors leave? Are we going to see enrollment numbers down now? I mean, nuts and bolts, is that going to happen?
I think it very well could. You're going to look at about a 17% cut to the state appropriation to each of those institutions. You're going to see the students, and you name some of those, name Bipsy, name LSU Shreveport, named Southern Shreveport, where they have a lot of rural students, commuter students that come into those schools, that finding an extra $1,500 that was unexpected to pay for school is very, very difficult. It's probably undoable for several of them. They're barely making ends meet as it is. So, yeah, you're going to see an enrollment drop from some of those schools, and it's going to hit those students that we can least afford to have drop out of the system. Those are the students that we need to develop their skills and talents so that they can compete in the 21st century economy. So it's going to have a very negative impact on all of our schools. And listen, this is on the heels. Across the UL system, we graduated more than 8,500 students this spring. Tech had its largest graduation. I'll speak at it tomorrow. Its largest graduation in the school's history. ULM, largest graduation in the school's history. And you go across the state, all of our schools, even in this with a lack of resources, are producing at a higher level than ever before, at lowest cost than ever before. Now is not the time to step backwards and continue this disinvestment.
Dr. Jim, on Tuesday, I think it was, we had this big healthcare confab town hall meeting here in Shreveport at the old Shumpert place. And Erin was there, and she told the story about at one point, and I think it was either Dr. Golly or Jay Darden talking, and a fellow stood up and said, my wife works here, and we go through this every year where we don't know if we have the money. My wife who works here doesn't know if she's going to have a job. And this is just so tiring and exhausting, and we're over it, and you need to do something. You've had some very interesting comments about a potential constitutional convention on Facebook, social media, etc. Going through this every year, I'm sure you know how this fellow at University Health, I'm sure you know how he feels. Are you as tired of it as is he?
I don't really get tired. I do get frustrated sometimes with the process. I get frustrated with the misinformation that comes throughout the process. For instance, somebody yesterday was talking about higher education having this off-budget source of resources of about $3 billion, which is just a ridiculous statement. It's just fundamentally not true. There's lots of misinformation that's out there. I hate that part of it. The Constitutional Convention, it's a mechanism to try to solve a problem that we've been unable to solve legislatively. It might be the right approach. I will tell you that everything that you can do in a Constitutional Convention, a lot of those things you could do legislatively if you're willing to engage in the conversation. And the conversations are very difficult to have because it requires people to be informed. It requires people to be honest and candid with each other. And in today's political environment, it's hard for any of those things to take place. I understand this person's angst, and when you're dealing every single year, especially in higher ed, especially in the higher ed nexus with healthcare, it does get frustrating. It does get tiring, and there's some simple solutions. 3 years ago when they passed the temporary sales tax, it was temporary because they were going to spend time to develop a comprehensive review of taxation, of what is the appropriate revenue level to taxation policy in Louisiana, and they made zero progress on that. And so you got to wonder, is that part of the process broken, or are there other things that will derail even a Constitutional Convention? These other political concerns that are about power, that are about party. It gets very complicated. I don't think it's an easy solution.
Our last 30 seconds. What do you think the governor's going to do? Give me your crystal ball.
I think the governor is going to try to work with the legislature over the next 15 days, 16 days, to find a solution that funds our priorities. And
he'll let this budget sit there a minute?
That's what I would do. I'd let it sit there, and let's try to work together in good faith. Even though it's been hard, I think we have to try. Let's work in good faith to solve the problem, fund our priorities, fulfill the TOPS promise, and maintain our investment in colleges and universities, because it's the strongest return on investment we have in the state budget.
So you say don't sign it right now?
I wouldn't.
Jim Henderson.
Not this morning.
Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Hey, thank y'all very much.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, 651. Here's Ruben.
Everything's still running pretty clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, partly sunny and hot today with a high near the record of 94 set in 1883. Partly cloudy tonight, low 68. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
1017 FM, 710 KEEL, and the KEEL app, a free download. Sports time. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Auburn roughed up LSU starter Zach Hess for 5 runs on 6 hits and just 3 innings of work in an 11-4 takedown of the Bayou Bengals. Auburn's Will Holland led the Plainsmen with 4 hits and a pair of RBI to help pull his team into a tie with LSU in the SEC standings at 14-14 in league play. Louisiana Tech's David Leal allowed just 1 run in 7 innings to earn the win in an 11-3 bashing of Old Dominion. The Bulldogs dominated Conference USA's last-place team from the jump, with former Bird Yellow Jacket Steele Netterville ripping a 2-run homer in the bottom of the first. Parker Bates added a 2-run blast in the 3rd inning to make it 4-1. Both Bates and Netterville finished with 4 RBI. Northwestern State overcame a 2-0 deficit to post a 6-3 win at New Orleans. The Demons have won 11 of their last 14 games to move into a tie for 3rd place in the Southland Conference standings. Ridge Heisler earned the win despite giving up a pair of runs in the bottom of the first. And the White Sox rallied to beat Texas 4-2 in Chicago. It's the first win at home since May 3rd for the Sox, who have the worst record in baseball and worst 40-game record in franchise history. But they were better than Texas, even if it was just for one night. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
We need a little bit past 7 o'clock.
What do we need?
Need to discuss the royal wedding tomorrow.
Yeah, they're taking bets.
On what?
On what kind of car they're going to ride in, what's he going to wear, military uniform, suit, who's going to walk her down the aisle. Vegas is taking bets on all kinds of crazy stuff.
Because her father is...
He's not coming.
He's in ill health. He just had a heart attack, right?
Mm-hmm.
But are they also estranged? I don't know the particulars. I haven't paid much attention.
There's some sort of thing going on,
okay,
yeah.
We'll talk about that more just after 7.
Oh.
1017
Yeah, because
FM.
nobody else is, I know.
1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Rush.
A few weeks ago, I told you about the huge tax that Seattle City Council planned for its businesses. Amazon, the city's largest employer, would be hardest hit. Now, Amazon would owe an additional $500 per employee on top of the taxes they pay already. The new tax would supposedly solve Seattle's housing crisis, but it wouldn't. Now, as in other liberal-run cities, homeless camps, they're everywhere. And thanks to Seattle's massive overregulation, available housing cannot keep up with demand. Rents are astronomical. Now, whenever liberals create problems, do they fix their policies? No, they punish the productive. And this new tax targeted successful businesses, which Seattle liberals assume are just rolling in extra dough and will roll over and pay any new tax. But Amazon didn't follow the script and bend over and grab the ankles. Instead, they immediately halted their Seattle expansion plans. For once, officials backed down a little. Instead of $500 per employee, the city council voted to only tax big companies $275 per employee. But here's a warning for Jeff Bezos. The liberals who run your town are going to be back for the rest of it. Taxes are all they know. Your success made you a target, and you're going to stay a target, guaranteed. No matter how big a liberal you are, no matter how proud they are of you owning the Washington Post, they're going to get you, Jeff. Say, folks, if you own land, I'm sure you would love to have the time to work it, develop it, spend time with it. If so, go see my good friends at Mahindra. Because for a limited time, you can get one of Mahindra's best-selling tractors, the 2555 Shuttle with loader, and get up to $9,000 off MSRP. With 55 horsepower, it's great for all of you hobby farmers. Plus, the 2555 includes an industry-leading 7-year limited powertrain warranty. Mahindra also offers a full lineup of tractors from 20 horsepower all the way up to 125 horsepower. For offer details or to learn more about the world's #1 selling tractor, visit MahindraUSA.com.
Take advantage of rock-bottom prices and test drive a Mahindra today at Kelly Tractor and Equipment in Longview or visit kellytractor.net. That's kellytractor.net.
The intersection of Kings Highway and Linwood Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now, and we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
KEELAccuWeather.com forecast. Kind of cloudy today. A good chance of showers. Intermittent, maybe heavy at times. High today in the low 90s. Right now, 71 at Keel, 7 o'clock.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL.
It is 3 past 7 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Erin, local news, up next.
Coming up, dozens of professionals are upset with the MPC. We'll talk about that. Lots of glitz and glam at George's Pond at the Hirsch. We'll have that as well. And we have a new leader for the Caddo Animal Shelter.
More on I need to hear about that. More on Caddo deputies patrolling in Shreveport. How's that going to work out? Let me see. You mentioned Miss Teen USA and Miss USA. Oh, I know. We have Commissioner of Administration Jay Dart. No, Leo Savage is coming up this hour.
Yep.
Mayoral candidate at about 7:40.
And have you heard there's a wedding tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going. I'll tell you more about. Oh, we're talking about two different weddings. Fletcher and sports, traffic, and weather. It's all this hour coming up on KEEL.
Will be hosting Miss USA and Miss Teen USA. It's the first time ever the two events were held in the same city at the same time. Today at 4 is the start of the Miss Teen USA Finals. Now that event will be streamed live on the Miss USA Facebook page. The Miss USA pageant will air live Monday night on Fox at 7. The event's expected to generate more than $4.5 million for our community. Caddo Parish has a new director of animal control. Matt Parker with that.
Travis Clark has been named as the new Director of Animal Services in Caddo Parish after being appointed by Administrator Woody Wilson. The Caddo Commission voted unanimously to hire Clark for the job. Clark previously worked in several different positions at Caddo Animal Services before taking a director's position in Stockton, California. Clark will officially take over May 21st. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Lawmakers pass a budget that fully funds the Department of Health, but reduces 9 state agency budgets by 24%, cuts TOPS to 70% coverage, and slashes higher ed spending. Appropriations Chairman Cameron Henry says Republicans are potentially open to revenue proposals, but they're back from the voters over the weekend.
It really depends on the appetite of our constituents to see how much money they want to raise. If they get pushed back to fully fund higher education or fully fund TOPS, one of these things, maybe members will be inclined to raise some revenue.
Now, the jury's still out on whether the governor will veto the plan, but if he approves it, it could mean some significant cuts. In an amazing feat, 6 Caddo Parish students scored a perfect 36 on their ACTs. All but one of the students attends Caddo Magnet High, the other is at Byrd. To put this in perspective, only 2,235 students out of over 2 million have registered a perfect score since 2016. That's less than 1/10 of students. A New Orleans Saints star coming to the aid of a former high school quarterback on the road to recovery. We get more on that from Fox.
Surprise! New Orleans Saints quarterback Drew Brees popping into a Football and America Flag Football League event in San Diego last weekend to celebrate a fellow number 9. Alex Ruiz, a big fan of Brees, honored at the event. Ruiz played quarterback for his high school team until last season when he suffered a severe knee injury that required him to have his right leg amputated. Brees paying the 17-year-old a visit and providing him with a prosthetic leg and this promise.
Once you get the hang of this and it's ready to start running and training and competing again, we're going to get you your athletic training prosthetic as well. So here you go, Alex.
Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
Tomorrow, the big wedding, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Markle says her dad won't be there to walk her down the aisle. She's reportedly asked Prince Charles to do the honor. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
9 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. It is time for traffic. It's time for Ruben.
The intersection at Hearn Avenue and Lakeshore Drive is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of Shed Road in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Hot today, partly sunny with a high near the record of 94 set in 1883. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Paulie Walnuts?
Yeah, that was the guy from The Sopranos.
Seriously.
Who always had the stupid phrases and
I
made horrible
I
jokes.
never watched that, so.
What? It's one of the greatest shows ever on television.
101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Did you ever watch The Sopranos?
No.
No, I didn't. I just didn't. No.
God, you guys need to watch The Sopranos and The Wire. They are 1 and 2 as far as the greatest television shows of all time.
I got stuff to do. I can't be somewhere every week. You know, it's just I have other look. It's like Seinfeld. Okay, Seinfeld was on for what, 10 years or so? I have no idea.
I watched a few Sopranos. Don't get me wrong.
Now that it is in syndication and has been for more than a decade, I will occasionally come across. Well, here's a perfect example. When Seinfeld was on, about once every 2 or 3 or 4 months, I would accidentally see an episode of Seinfeld, and I would think, man, this show's awesome. This is hysterical. I need to watch this every week. But then I'd have stuff to do. And so I never and that's just how any kind of TV series is.
I know. I let you borrow a movie 8 months ago, and you still haven't watched the damn thing.
I'll get to it. So speaking of royal families, the wedding is tomorrow. It's Prince
Prince Harry.
See how little attention I
I
paid?
know.
And American actress Meghan Markle.
Yeah, just started watching the show she's in called Suits, I think it's called.
I have no idea.
She's pretty good. She's pretty good.
Now, is this something that you care at all about?
I'm over it. I mean, it's everywhere. It's like this Yanni Laurel thing. Stop already.
What did you hear, by the way, Yanni or Laurel?
Laurel.
Me too. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's what old.
It's an old people thing.
Old
yeah.
people hear that.
You guys actually listen to it? What are you, some kind of loser?
Somebody played it for me. They made me listen to it.
It's a series. It's all the time.
You know, the wedding tomorrow is there's a few big questions. Meghan Markle's dad, they're saying he's not showing up, so who's going to walk her down the aisle?
Yes.
I heard this morning Fox reporting that Prince Charles has been asked to walk her down the aisle. Whether he's agreed to do it or not, I don't know. Then I also heard that all the bets you can make in Vegas. The odds on for what car they will arrive in, just FYI in case you're betting, is a Rolls Royce.
You know, if you're
I think
a member,
Bentley's up there second or
if
third.
you're a member of the British royal family, it basically, and the numbers may be off a little bit, but not by much. If you are a member of the British royal family, you get about $6 million a year and an unlimited expense account.
Yeah, and he'll never have to be king. He'll never have to.
That's the greatest gig in the world.
That's a great gig. You never have to worry about ruling your country and getting along with the prime minister
you
and
go
all
to
that.
you make a few charity appearances.
Cut some ribbons,
you
kiss
bitch
some
about
babies.
Global warming.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, and you cash in $6 million a year and an unlimited American Express account.
Yes, exactly.
Matt and I were kind of talking about this yesterday. I don't know if you were paying attention. if you want to make somebody really mad, and I don't know why this rubs him so the wrong way, Carter next door on Morning Madhouse. He just gets livid talking about the royal family, that nobody should get so much for not doing anything.
Oh.
And it makes him literally angry. What did they ever do? What did they have? They haven't accomplished anything. They were just born into it. And it makes him livid.
Oh, my goodness.
But there's somebody who I think would legitimately be even more angry. Look, I think, and I'll tell you who it is in a second. I think these people have every right, and there's got to be a lot of them, right?
You would think.
I think there are people who have the legitimate right to be as angry about this royal wedding as anything.
I heard you talking about this.
If you go back through history, and I'm looking at all the names of all the English royal families, and there's the Normans, the Stuarts, the Tudors, the Plantagenets, Hanovers, Lancaster, Yorks, the list goes on and on. The current, by the way, is Saxe Coburg Gotha, or something like that, which sounds German, which is actually what it is. And during World War I, who wanted a royal family that sounded German? So they changed it to Windsor. They just made a name up. Windsor. So you've got all these royal families.
You didn't say Tudors.
And yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
And at some point, whoever succeeded who for a lot of years got to be king by killing the other king.
Sure.
So here's what I'm thinking. Let's say, for example, you are the great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandson of one of the Tudors or Plantagenets or Hanovers. The only reason
you're not the king,
that you're not being married tomorrow, the only reason you're not getting $6 million a year plus an unlimited expense account is because your great-great-great-great-grandfather wasn't a better sword fighter.
Yeah. He couldn't handle his sword.
You're sort of like, and I described it this way to Matt, you're sort of the Pete Best of royalty.
Yeah.
You're the guy, you are just on the outside.
Pops got whacked.
Now, admittedly, some of these ex-royal families, they're all gone because to become the king,
They killed them all.
They killed them all.
You bet.
But at some point,
Off
the
with their head.
great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather of the Lancasters or the Hanovers is living in England, and they've got to be thinking, because they've got to know.
Man, that could be me.
But for a misplaced barrel of hot pitch.
Your gramps might have cut off an ear, while the other one cut off your
That
head.
could be me.
Yep.
I just came up with the most brilliant idea.
What's that?
Every one of us need to band together and get on Ancestry.com. You know, the little mouth swab thing where they find out your lineage?
Yeah.
We all need to do that. And any of us that have any sort of royal bloodline need to band together and conquer England. Just march right up to the castle and overthrow the government.
I would just be so...
Because there's got to be more of us than them, right?
Oh, yeah.
I would just be so mad.
Oh, I'd be so
I would be thinking,
ticked.
if my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather had just been a little bit better with the rapier,
yeah,
I might be on the $6 million a year
gravy train.
Oh,
Oh, boy.
So tell me more about the wedding. What time is it tomorrow?
I don't have a clue. I just know they're getting married tomorrow. Meghan Markle is an American actress. I guess maybe has Toronto, Canadian roots too.
It's early in the morning our time, or at least coverage starts like about 4 a.m.
It's just going to be crazy.
Yeah,
The money they're spending, and it's just unbelievable.
Not they. Well, by they you mean the people of England, because the Queen of England or the Prince of England or any of they're not writing checks.
No.
It's all on the backbone for a country that is probably in as dire a financial situation as any nation on earth.
Right.
That they continue to write checks for these people is, I'm constantly amazed.
By the way, Meghan has retired from acting, just FYI.
19 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic update. Here is Ruben.
The intersection at Hearn Avenue and Lakeshore Drive is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of Shed Road in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Hot today, partly sunny with a high near the record of 94 set in 1883. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Nineteen past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL Sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Auburn roughed up LSU starter Zach Hess for 5 runs on 6 hits and just 3 innings of work in an 11-4 takedown of the Bayou Bengals. Auburn's Will Holland led the Plainsmen with 4 hits and a pair of RBI to help pull his team into a tie with LSU in the SEC standings at 14-14 in league play. Louisiana Tech's David Leal allowed just 1 run in 7 innings to earn the win in an 11-3 bashing of Old Dominion. The Bulldogs dominated Conference USA's last-place team from the jump with former Bird Yellow Jacket Steele Netterville ripping a 2-run homer in the bottom of the first. Parker Bates added a 2-run blast in the 3rd inning to make it 4-1. Both Bates and Netterville finished with 4 RBI. Northwestern State overcame a 2-0 deficit to post a 6-3 win at New Orleans. The Demons have won 11 of their last 14 games to move into a tie for 3rd place in the Southland Conference standings. Ridge Heisler earned the win despite giving up a pair of runs in the bottom of the first. And the White Sox rallied to beat Texas 4-2 in Chicago. It's the first win at home since May 3rd for the Sox, who have the worst record in baseball and worst 40-game record in franchise history. But they were better than Texas, even if it was just for one night. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Twenty-three past 7 o'clock. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. The KEEL app is always, today included, and the weekend, too. A free download from Office Furniture Source. A little bit later this morning, we will chat with Commissioner of Administration Jay Darden. Is that at 10 past 8 o'clock?
Yes.
And then at 8:40, U.S. Senator John Kennedy. That'll be interesting. But a budget has gone to a final budget agreed upon by the Senate and the House, has gone to Governor John Bel Edwards' desk, his office. And explain to me, do you have the numbers in there? It calls for a whole bunch of cuts.
Yes.
Do you have some of those numbers in front of you? And then we can talk about John Bell's options.
Yeah, it would cut 9 state agencies' budgets by about 20%. It has steep cuts to higher ed. Now, it has restored the funding to the safety net hospitals and nursing home patients, the Medicaid patients.
So are those funded at the previous 100% of last year? Is that?
I'm not sure. I don't have that number.
And when you say cuts to higher ed, is that TOPS or is that just the money that goes
Both.
to really?
TOPS would be funded only at 70%. And higher ed would also be facing some across-the-board cuts. We spoke with Dr. Henderson earlier, who told us this is going to mean the loss of, professors, a loss of students who decide they're going to go elsewhere. When you have kids right now that are trying to enroll in college for this fall, and they got accepted at LSU, they got accepted at University of Arkansas, but because they're not going to get the funding, the TOPS funding they thought, they may go to University of Arkansas instead. We might lose them.
That's out-of-state stuff. I mean, it's out-of-state schools cost.
You're out of touch. They waive that all the time now. The out-of-state tuition gets waived all the time now.
Really?
You bet.
As
Absolutely.
often. I mean, on what percentage? Any idea?
No idea. But you can get it waived. You can say, look, I have 2 great opportunities. I can go to Arkansas.
So here's the question. Should John Bell sign the budget as it is, and he's got like about 20 days, but he's already called for a special session, which starts this coming week, and there's only 14 days of that, but only 10 working days, and there's no way that you can put together a whole second budget. Now, there is a waive the budget and throw it down the road process. But do we really want to go through this for another 90 or 120 days while the state legislature, the Senate and the House, and all the committees and all the guys and all the special interests and everything we've gone through for the last 120 days try to do it again? And what different is what I always ask about. It's the question I always ask about special session. Your position to the governor or whomever, Jay Darden, I know the governor's position has not changed. The position of most in the legislature has not changed. The ideological, the party makeup of the legislature has not changed. What's going to be different? And
what's different is that the deadline's here. The deadline's here. You have no more delays. You have no more, we'll do it later. Like the earlier special session we had this year, we can do it after this regular session. We've got time to do it then. Now you have no more time. You're out of time now.
So
July 1 is here.
So what is the governor going to threaten? Who's going to, according to the governor of Louisiana, who's going to die next if we don't pass, if he doesn't get his tax
He'll
increases?
sign this budget, and you'll.
No. I mean, is he once again going to say that senior citizens in nursing homes will be cast out into the street?
I'm not sure what he's going to say.
Is he once again going to say there won't be money for nutrition programs for the disadvantaged children of Louisiana?
Let me tell you where I am, and I'll bring this up with Mr. Darden. Let me get to this because this drives me crazy.
That has not, you must admit, with the legislature, that has not served him well. In fact, it has gotten him, those sort of strong-arm tactics have gotten him what he sees as a less than pleasing budget. That's on his desk now.
You bet. You're going to hear Jay Darden after 8 o'clock say that whatever they do next week in the special session, these are not tax increases. We're actually reducing your taxes. From what you're paying today, there's $1.6 million on the books. That $1.6 billion on the books, billion, I said, and now we're going to reduce that because we only need $600 million. No, wait a minute, Governor, Jay, other people who say we're reducing taxes, just like the TOPS promise. You promised the TOPS. Well, 2 years ago, you promised me these were temporary. You promised me this $1.6 billion would go off the books. So don't sit here today, Mr. Darden, and tell us These are not tax increases. We're actually cutting your taxes. Oh, no, that's a bunch of hogwash BS, because these should go off the books July 1, every dime of it.
So if I were to ask you, do you think Louisianans are undertaxed? That's sort of...
Oh, come on.
I don't really have to ask you that.
No, come on. Do you want me to hit you with a brick upside the head?
I'm not the one who says that.
I know.
One of the
Watch what he says to you. You're not tax increases. Wait, when he says that, I'm going to bounce in my chair. Let me at him. Let me at him.
That's the creepiest thing I've ever seen.
I'm sorry about that.
29
I need
past
a
7
better
o'clock,
bra.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. You need a bra. 29 past 7 o'clock, traffic time. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on some heavy backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Fenton Road right now. And we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near McDade Street in Bossier City. Drive with caution in these wet road conditions, and if you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Hot today, partly sunny with a high near the record of 94 set in 1883. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Of information. KEEL News now.
Lawmakers pass a budget that fully funds the Department of Health but reduces 9 state agencies' budgets by 24%. It cuts TOPS to 70% coverage and slashes higher ed spending. Democrats have raged against the bill, calling it immoral and calling on lawmakers to reject any budget until a special session arrives to plug the $648 million shortfall. But Cameron Henry, the appropriations chairman, says the state has to work with the money it has available and prioritize.
We have to use the money that we have to cover the priorities, and providing services to the elderly obviously is something that members want to do and feel is a priority.
The budget is now on the governor's desk. State Representative Gene Reynolds of Minden stepping down from his legislative seat. He's landed a state job and will oversee state parks. Reynolds says his resignation from the House will be effective June 4th after lawmakers wrap up a special session that begins on Tuesday. Caddo has a new director of animal services. Travis Clark wins the unanimous vote of the commission. Clark previously worked in several different posts at Caddo Animal Services before taking a director's job in Stockton, California. Clark will officially take over on Monday. Over the next few days, George's Pond at Hirsch Coliseum will host Miss USA and Miss Teen USA. It's the first time ever the two events were held in the same city at the same time. Today at 4 is the start of the Miss Teen USA Finals. Now that event will be streamed live on the Miss USA Facebook page. The Miss USA pageant will air live on Fox Monday night at 7. The event's expected to generate at least $4.5 million for the city. Business owners meet with the MPC for a second time. Matt Parker with that.
Dozens of professionals, contractors, and business leaders are calling for changes to the Metropolitan Planning Commission in Caddo Parish at a second town hall meeting attempting to incite change at the MPC. The group voiced concerns that red tape and lack of action is killing business in Shreveport. They say the MPC causes projects to take too long to complete, which ends up costing them too much money. They made over 50 suggestions of ways the MPC could operate better and make it easier to do business in the city. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A deadly school bus crash in New Jersey has left a community in mourning. Governor Phil Murphy says the school bus was filled with students on a class trip when it crashed.
There were 38 students and 7 adults on the bus, including the driver. A total of 43 people of that 45 were injured and transported to area hospitals for treatment.
1 student and 1 adult died in the crash. In an amazing feat, 6 Caddo Parish students scored a perfect 36 on their ACTs. All but 1 of the students attends Caddo Magnet High. The other attends Byrd. A war of words continues between 2 college football head coaches. More on that from Matt Napolitano.
The University of Central Florida's football team declared themselves national champions following a 13-0 season that culminated in a victory in the Peach Bowl. UCF going all out, raising a banner at their home field, providing Knights players with championship rings. Nick Saban telling USA Today regarding Central Florida, self-proclaimed is not the same as actually earning it. Former UCF, now Nebraska head coach Scott Frost addressed Saban's remarks with KETV.
Alabama's probably got 1 or 2 championships they claim that weren't necessarily recognized by everybody.
Alabama has 17 national titles in football, but many of the early titles were before the modern polling systems existed, opening them up for debate. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
A Montana high school student disciplined for continuing to wear a Confederate flag sweatshirt after administrators requested that he stop wearing it. The 17-year-old was suspended after wearing the sweatshirt to the high school every day since last week. He says he wears it to stand up for students' First Amendment rights. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, I've been meaning to get to this for a couple of days. 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, Robert and Erin, and I want Matt to kind of listen to this because it's, you know, you sort of, you actually pride yourself. You describe, I'm an old soul. I'm not, I have the chronological body of a millennial, but I'm really...
He's crotchety.
A Cold War warrior.
I'm older than you.
Oldest living person, hang on, kids. Oldest living person at 128 says she wishes she had died young and said her longevity is a punishment.
Mm-hmm.
A woman, who does this sound like to you?
Just like him.
A woman purported to be the oldest living person ever at 128 says she hasn't had a single happy day in her life, and her longevity is a punishment. The Russian,
Matt, we could hook you up with her.
She's 129. A little outside my wheelhouse.
By 5 years. The Russian government claims that Koku Istanbulova is the world's oldest living human. But Istanbulova says bluntly her longevity was God's will, and she did nothing to make it happen. When some people chalk it up to a healthy lifestyle or activity, a very tired Koku says, I have no idea how I lived until now. Due to turn 129 in 2 weeks, she adds, quote, I have not had a single happy day in my life.
I can't relate to that. I may have not had a single happy day, but I've had some pretty good nights.
Oh, Matt and Coco. I like that.
Destiny.
Come here, hot Coco.
739, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Mayoral candidate Leo Savage just a couple of seconds away. Lots to talk about there. Right now, traffic update and Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on some heavy backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Benton Road right now. And we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near McDade Street in Bossier City. Drive with caution in these wet road conditions, and if you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, partly sunny and hot today with a high near the record of 94 set in 1883. Partly cloudy tonight, low 68. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
"128 years old, never a happy day." Wow. It's not too late to turn it around, kid. Man. Good heavens. Halfway to 150, never mind. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Joining us for a little bit is mayoral candidate Leo Savage. Welcome back. You had not met, I did not know.
That's
that
correct.
until that you had not previously met Erin.
That's a fact. Actually,
You're as amazed.
Last time, I sat where Erin was.
You're as amazed as I am, aren't you?
You didn't answer my text yesterday either.
What? You
I'll
sent
have
me
to
a text?
I'll have to figure out. We
Get
must have the
outta
wrong
here.
numbers.
Must have.
You know who's...
Because I surely would have jumped on
Excuse
that.
me just a second. Matt, just for a moment.
Yes.
If you had to, based on your communication with the aforementioned Ms. McCarty, if you had to speculate whose phone might be at fault, Ms. McCarty's or Mr. Savage's,
It's mine.
which way would you go?
If I were a betting man, I'd put my money on Erin McCarty's phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Leo, there is a Shreveport's in kind of a tough place right now. With well, especially as Erin referred to it subtly, the recent uptick in crime. What are you thinking about that? You as not only a mayoral candidate, but as a Shreveport guy, that's got to be exceedingly troubling. But as a mayoral candidate, you've got to be thinking, what would I, Leo Savage, do if I were in the mayor's chair right now?
Sure. I mean, this is my town, and that's the way I look at it. I really have to look at everything like this is Shreveport. Maybe I'm not running for mayor. I have to look at it that way. The facts are the numbers are down a little bit through March, although now they're starting to spike again. Now, 41 months into it, our mayor has decided to come in and say, hey, we're going to join forces with Sheriff Prater, which I think that should have been done a long time ago. I just Wednesday, I contacted a guy named Brian. Brian is with what they call Project NOLA, and it's down in New Orleans. Project NOLA is a incredible program, and it's a nonprofit. What they do, it's a private sector where they go out, they put cameras out into neighborhoods, they put them out into on a church, on a fire station, any businesses, and that is something that we really need to look into. When I was talking to Brian, he told me that in Chicago paid like between 10 and 12 million dollars for something similar, but it was pretty much operated by the government there. They've only captured one homicide person that since then, so that was not really successful with all the money spent. For them, they have put so many people in jail. They've prosecuted
in New Orleans
quickly.
now you're talking about.
In New Orleans. What they've got in the security world, everybody knows what PTZs are. They're what they call a pan-tilt zoom camera. In some high crime, high drug areas, they will install the PTZs. What they can do, and what Brian was telling me, he said, Leo, we can actually see if they have a packet of crack or if they have cocaine in their hand. We can zoom in and we can see if they have a gun on their person. We can see everything. And he said, it is so great because, I mean, if you go on there, try to go onto their website, and it's projectnola.org.
Would you propose paying police officers more? We're losing. I mean, it sounds like we're replacing 150 officers over the past 2 years. 70 last year. The mayor just the other day said 80 this year. That's 150 of our 500 officers in 2 years. We're doing something wrong if we're not retaining them.
Correct. Well, the thing we have to look at, Erin, is we have over 500 officers, but we only have 157 uniformed police officers. Now, I know.
Wait, say that again.
Yeah, that sounds crazy.
500
right?
officers,
and we have 157 boots on the ground. We'll double that and say 315,
right.
14. So, what happens, and again, it's all about leadership, which is the problem with our city today. It's just not led properly. We have to look at it as a management opportunity, not a political opportunity. Basically, you take 500 officers, and what would you want to do with these people? Well, I want those people out on the streets protecting us. We've got a terrible crime problem.
Does Leo Savage pay the officers more?
Leo Savage definitely wants to pay them more. I think we've got a lot of money in our general fund and a lot of the coffers. We've got money all over the place, but nobody wants to look at that. We need to look at what we're paying those guys and ladies that put their life on the line for us, and I think we need to take care of them.
Who's Leo Savage's police chief?
I can tell you a couple of people that I've looked at and talked with, and I probably should not say, but I definitely have spoken to one that's I think as passionate as I am.
From within the department?
Yes.
But not the current chief. He would not be.
Oh, the current chief has got to go. I'm sure that he is a good man, and I don't want to knock him as a person. I'm sure he's a good guy. He's just in the wrong job. He's not doing it efficiently. He won't come out. He won't do anything.
Let's talk about what you've got going on this weekend. It is the Do Good Project, and you are sort of at the vanguard, leading that. Tell us about that. Tell us how people can help out. Well, tell us, first of all, what the plan is.
Well, if you don't mind me kind of like regressing a little bit.
No.
A few weekends ago, with the mayoral campaign, we went out to Queensboro, and we were filming. We wanted to see exactly what the city had not done, and the city had really not done a lot. Well, my heart, my compassion, kicked in. And
you're talking about from the recent storms.
Yes, that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
The tornado that was about a month ago. And again, we still there's trees down on homes still. There's people still without power. There are people who they're on fixed incomes, and they can't afford. Some electricians have come in there and said, well, we have to charge you $2,000 to restore your electrical service. So the Do Good Project is something that originated from me through Simple Church. Church I go to, I started this several years ago, and it's now a nonprofit company. What What we do is we've always gone in and helped the needy to fix their homes. We also raise money for cancer patients. It's a project that's very near and dear to my heart, and because I love people.
So what's your weekend plan?
Here's the weekend. So, that kicked in on the Do Good Project. And this is not a Leo Savage for mayor cleanup. This is the Do Good Project. It has nothing to do with the mayor side. Just want to make that clear. We are going in. We've got 4 teams. Through Simple Church, I've got about 30 people on other volunteers. We have about 20 to 30 as well. So we should have quite a few people out there. We have about 4 teams. We have a leader. We have chainsaws. We'll have log splitters out there. We want the log splitters so people can sell the firewood so that they could use that to use it for fixing up their homes. And I say fixing it up, just general repairs. We also have general labor people, but we still need more. If they want to contact me, that's beautiful. They can. You mind me giving my email address?
Email or well, you've got the Leo Savage Facebook page too. They can contact you that way.
They can contact through Facebook. They can contact my email, which is LEEO Savage SAVAGE at yahoo.com.
Gotcha. How many folks you got lined up so far? I'm sorry.
There's about 50 right now. We've got. Yeah,
but you could always use more.
Absolutely. I mean, more hands on deck is better. We've got 4 teams, so each team will report, and we'll be assigning the places they're going to report shortly. Actually, about noon, we'll be giving everybody where to report, and they'll be starting out at different addresses. So they'll have a home that they're going to start with, and we'll go from there.
Mr. Leo Savage, mayoral candidate. Project Do Good, a pleasure as always. Thank you for taking time for us.
Thank you.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Robert and Erin. It is time for traffic. Ruben's got the latest Friday morning stuff. Here we go.
Starting to see some backed up traffic on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. Drive with caution in these wet road conditions, and if you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Hot today, partly sunny with a high near the record of 94 set in 1883. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
$7:52 KEEL Sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Auburn roughed up LSU starter Zach Hess for 5 runs on 6 hits and just 3 innings of work in an 11-4 takedown of the Bayou Bengals. Auburn's Will Holland led the Plainsmen with 4 hits and a pair of RBI to help pull his team into a tie with LSU in the SEC standings at 14-14 in league play. Louisiana Tech's David Leal allowed just 1 run in 7 innings to earn the win in an 11-3 bashing of Old Dominion. The Bulldogs dominated Conference USA's last-place team from the jump with former Bird Yellow Jacket Steele Netterville ripping a 2-run homer in the bottom of the first. Parker Bates added a 2-run blast in the 3rd inning to make it 4-1. Both Bates and Netterville finished with 4 RBI. Northwestern State overcame a 2-0 deficit to post a 6-3 win at New Orleans. The Demons have won 11 of their last 14 games to move into a tie for 3rd place in the Southland Conference standings. Ridge Heisler earned the win despite giving up a pair of runs in the bottom of the first. And the White Sox rallied to beat Texas 4-2 in Chicago. It's the first win at home since May 3rd for the Sox, who have the worst record in baseball and worst 40-game record in franchise history. But they were better than Texas, even if it was just for one night. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
It is 7:54, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel coming up at 10 past 8 o'clock. I'm gonna mention who it is, and I don't want you to yell anymore, okay?
Okay, I'll try to calm down.
Freak me out when you yell. Freak me out more when you bounce up and down. It is Commissioner of Administration Jay Darden. There is a budget from the state legislature has been sent to the governor, and he's got like about 20 days or so to sign it or veto or do line item stuff. The way the line item stuff works is basically if he's got $10 to work with, if he takes one and puts it, you got $10. If you take one from one category, from column A, you've got to remove one from column B.
It's got to balance. What I need to find right now, before Jay Darden at 8:10, I need to find some rope to tie me to the chair. Can we go find that?
You could work standing up. You could work laying down.
I need some calming.
I've been with you 20-something years. Don't take this the way it sounds. I ain't tying you up.
Hey, there's nothing more calming than rope. What the hell is wrong with you? I don't even want to know. Never mind.
I'm just going to explode.
She's like Ulysses in the Sirens of Titan. We're going to lash her to the mast.
Yeah.
And just stuff her ears with candle wax.
I'm scared of what's going to happen.
Also coming up at about 8:40 rather is United States Senator John Kennedy, who has announced he will vote to overturn the recent FCC ruling regarding net neutrality. He thinks suddenly net neutrality is like an awesome idea. I got lots of questions about that. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Sean Hannity.
Your morning espresso starts right here. It's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
All right, a shocking CNN poll revealed more positive news for the president. Last week, a reluctant fake Jake Tapper reported on these great numbers. Yes, a whopping 57% of Americans say things are going well for the country. Right direction, wrong direction. By the way, that's the largest proportion to say that since 2007. Yeah, before Obama took office. And 77% of Americans approve of the president's decision to meet with Kim Jong-un. And approval of Trump's decision to meet with Kim climbed 15 points since a late March poll, including a 24% rise in approval of the decision among Democrats. Hopefully this news didn't traumatize fake news CNN.
The Sean Hannity Show from coast to coast later today.
Every business needs great people, and a better way to find them. Something better than posting your job online and just praying for the right people to see it. ZipRecruiter knew there was a smarter way, so they built a platform that finds the right job candidates for you. ZipRecruiter learns what you're looking for, identifies people with the right experience, and invites them to apply to your job. In fact, 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. And ZipRecruiter doesn't stop there. They even spotlight the strongest applications you receive, so you never miss a great match. Goodbye post and pray. Hello ZipRecruiter. The smartest way to hire.
People from businesses of all sizes trust ZipRecruiter for their hiring needs. We're so confident ZipRecruiter will get you better results than anywhere else. We'll let you try it free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
KEEL's Top Cop. It's our salute to area law enforcement officers who go above and beyond the call of duty. We want you to send us stories of officers who deserve an extra pat on the back. Maybe an officer changed your tire or spent extra time talking to your youngster. We even want to know about officers who do good deeds while off duty. Let us share these great stories, but we need to know about them. If you want to say thanks to a police officer, deputy, or state trooper, log on to KEELnews.com and click on the Top Cop link. Download the KEEL app on your phone and click on Submit Photo or Video. Then tell us your story. We say thanks with KEEL's Top Cop, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Still keeping an eye on some heavy backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Airline Drive right now. And we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Hot today, partly sunny with a high near the record of 94 set in 1883. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Break breaking news and trending talk. This is 1017 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport. The KEEL Morning Show.
Good morning. It's 8:03. Robert and Erin, 1017 FM and 710 KEEL. Miss Erin, lots of local news up in seconds.
Lots of glitz and glam all around our community. We'll talk more about that. Will the MPC be easing things up a bit on businesses? And the state budget gets passed by the House and Senate. Will the governor sign it?
Good news. Commissioner of Administration Jay Darden talks about that budget in less than 10 minutes. Even better news, Erin wants to be lashed, tied to her chair. The even better news is there's a weight attached to the rope. Fletcher in sports, traffic, and weather, and it's all coming up this hour here on KEEL.
information. KEEL News now.
Miss USA taking over Shreveport-Bossier. Matt Parker with that.
Over the next few days, George's Pond at Hirsch Coliseum will be hosting Miss USA and Miss Teen USA. It's the first time ever that the two events will be held in the same city at the same time. Today at 4 p.m. is the start of the Miss Teen USA Finals. That event will be streamed live on the Miss USA Facebook page. The Miss USA pageant will air live on Fox Monday night at 7. The events are expected to generate at least $4.5 million for the city. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Dozens of contractors and business owners calling for changes to the MPC in Caddo. A second town hall meeting attempting to incite some change. And the group voices concerns that red tape and lack of action is killing business in our community. Many claim the MPC causes projects to take too long to complete, which ends up costing them too much money. Now, they made over 50 suggestions of ways the MPC could operate better and make it easier to do business in the city. The MPC director has pledged to make some adjustments. Caddo has a new director of animal services. Travis Clark gets the job. The commission voted unanimously to hire Clark for the position. Clark previously worked in several different jobs at Caddo Animal Services before taking a director's position in California. Clark officially takes over on Monday. Lawmakers on the House side passed a budget that fully funds the Department of Health but reduces 9 state agencies' budgets by 24% and slashes higher ed spending. It also cuts TOPS to 70% coverage. Now, the jury's still out on whether the governor will veto the plan, but if he approves it, House Appropriations Chairman Cameron Henry says it won't be imaginary.
Assuming it's not vetoed by the governor, this will become law. During a special session, if members choose to raise some additional revenue, we will do a supplemental bill to backfill some of these agencies that have been reduced. But this bill is law.
Now, it would be clear concealed carry permit holders in Louisiana are allowed to bring their firearms up to the edge of a school campus under a measure now headed to the governor. The House has given final passage to that proposal by a vote of 88-6. Activists on both sides of the abortion debate anticipating a renewed fight as the Department of Health and Human Services plans to announce a proposal today to reimpose a Reagan-era ban on federally funded family planning clinics discussing abortion with women. Department of Child and Family Services kicking off a new foster parent recruitment campaign. It's an annual push to increase awareness of the importance of the system. Child Welfare Manager Christy Tate says the campaign is built around a message of teamwork.
We're looking for foster parents who can come alongside us to support a family for a child. We're a team, and we want to use a team approach.
7,868 children part of the DCFS's foster care program last year, with only 2,200 certified foster homes. In an amazing feat, 6 Caddo students scored a perfect 36 on their ACTs. All but one of the students attends Caddo Magnet High. The other student attends Byrd. A Florida high school student asked the Crocs Shoe Company to supply foam shoes for her and all her female classmates to wear to graduation because they're comfy. And the company said okay if she got 2018 tweets. She did. The shoes are on the way. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Zero. 9 past 8 o'clock. KEEL traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on some heavy backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Airline Drive right now. And we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Hot today, partly sunny with a high near the record of 94 set in 1883. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Good morning. It's 12 past 8 o'clock. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 1017 FM and 710 KEEL. Always free, the KEEL app, presented by Office Furniture Source. Joining us once again, Mr. Jay Darden, the State Commissioner of Administration. Mr. Jay, welcome back to KEEL. Thanks for taking time for us again.
Good morning. Thank you.
So, there's a budget on the governor's desk and problem solved.
Doesn't have his autograph on it yet.
Right. What's the plan?
Well, it doesn't have his autograph on it yet. I think it's unlikely this will become the budget bill that governs our expenses for the next fiscal year. And the special session will begin next Tuesday, during which we hopefully will consider the revenue options that have been talked about many times before to try and get enough revenue to be able to do the things that I think the people of this state expect state government to do, and that is fund TOPS, fund higher education at the same level it's been funded, and certainly take care of our health care needs and our Medicaid population. And to do that, obviously based upon the two budgets that passed the two chambers, this legislature has been unable to realize cuts that avoid devastating things in Louisiana. And this is consistent with what we've been saying. Those who say let's cut our way out of this problem have not been able to come up with cuts that are legitimate, or cuts that don't adversely affect major programs that people expect government to perform.
Mr. Jay, as I had stated earlier this morning, let's go through a little civics class here. So the governor has a budget on his desk, and he's got, I think, 20 days to sign, to veto, to line item. Meanwhile, there's a special session getting ready to start, and there's 14 days but 10 working days. Meanwhile, you might need a whole new budget. That's a lot of balls for a lot of people to keep up in the air, right?
Well, there are a lot of balls in the air, and these balls have been in the air for quite some time now. And during previous legislative sessions, regular session, now two regular sessions, and special session, legislature's been unable to come up with any solutions that are workable. So in this very concentrated period that will begin Tuesday, the legislature will have the opportunity to raise revenue at the same time that they enact a responsible budget. And certainly the budget that's been sent to the governor is anything but responsible.
How will it be necessary to start the budget process from scratch? How could that happen?
Well, the budget process will begin anew. A new bill will have to be introduced in the House of Representatives and be heard by the Appropriations Committee, passed by the House, sent to the Senate, heard by the Finance Committee, passed by the Senate, and then back to the House to either concur or disagree with any changes that the Senate might make. So this whole process regarding the budget will be repeated again during the special session.
But do we have time for all that, I guess was my question.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We have time. We have about 14 days. We have from the 22nd to June the 4th, whatever that time frame is, and that is plenty enough time for a very limited purpose, and that is considering revenue and enacting a budget. Now, that is easier than it sounds because that's been difficult to do, obviously, during the entire course of this regular session. But with staring the end of the fiscal year in the face and recognizing the inability of the legislature to come up with a responsible budget, I think and I hope that legislators will be much more focused and much more determined to do what needs to be done to provide the people of this state with a responsible working budget.
Commissioner of Administration Jay Darden, why not the novel idea? Why not the governor sign this budget, send it back to him, and go, okay, y'all don't fix this problem during the special session. Here's your budget, July 1.
It's not a budget that the governor can support, and he said that from the get-go. It's an irresponsible budget. It was a budget that was called a pretend budget by the chairman of the Finance Committee, and many senators, including a number of Republican senators, talked about how this is not the budget we really want, but this is the response to what the House did, which was to devastate health care. And the Senate said, well, we're going to repair the damage to health care, but in order to do that, we've got to devastate everything else, including higher education and further reductions in TOPS and basically ceasing the operation of government as we know it. Some people would say that's a good idea, but it's not a responsible idea.
So we're gonna have to raise taxes in the special session. We're going to have to address the revenue issues, correct?
We're going to have to replace taxes that are expiring, and that's a big difference. I mean, the legislature enacted temporary taxes 20-some-odd months ago.
Temporary, so they're supposed to go off the books, right? I was promised they were temporary.
They do go. That's right. They do go off the books. They were temporary, but in so doing, the legislature recognized that there was a need for that temporary revenue in order to keep government operating in a responsible manner. And it's unreasonable to think that $1.4 billion that disappears can simply permanently disappear from our tax base and expect government to continue doing the same things it's been doing. Common sense tells you that just doesn't work.
Then why was I told 2 years ago it was going to be temporary, that it could be temporary? Why wasn't I told 2 years ago we're going to need to keep some of this on the books?
Well, you certainly were by people who recognize this is going to go away. It was said to be temporary, but that doesn't mean that when it goes away, it doesn't have to be replaced. Remember, the idea was to enact those temporary taxes pending a report from the task force that the legislature created to recommend changes in the structure of our tax system. And that task force made its recommendations that have been totally ignored by the House, which has not sent a single measure to the Senate to consider by way of raising revenue and fixing this problem. That's what's now going to have to happen during this special session.
Jay, during the
the governor's talked about replacing a portion of what's rolling off. We've got $1.4 billion disappearing, and the governor said originally we need the 900 and some odd million, less the amount that comes to the state from changes in the federal government tax policy. And that is what got us to the $648 million that we now need.
Please help explain something to me, and because sometimes I'm not the brightest. You at the town hall meeting here at LSU Health the other day used the figure our general fund budget is $9.6 billion. That came out of your mouth, and I'm familiar with the general fund budgets over the years. This is now our biggest ever. This surpasses, I believe, 2008 when we had all the Katrina money. Why is our general fund budget growing so much? Can you help explain that?
Well, it's not grown that much. If you look at it, Erin, over the past 10 years, it has stayed relatively constant. It has been hovering in that general area. It's not like it's gone up dramatically. And the temporary taxes that were imposed to make up for the use of one-time money during the previous administration, where budgets were balanced on the back of one-time money that disappeared year after year after year. And we said we're going to stop that. We're not going to fund recurring expenses with one-time revenue. And so that state general fund amount is what the legislature really has a lot of the ability to expend. But if you remember, I also noted that about 85% of that $9.6 billion is dedicated, and it funds K-12 education, and it funds supplemental pay for police officers, and it pays for debt service. And so there's not a lot of flexibility for the legislature to decide how to spend that money. But if you take $1.4 billion away from that 9.6, you see pretty quickly that drops the pot dramatically, and you simply can't do everything we're now doing if you don't have some of that money replaced. And that's what the governor's saying. Let's replace some of what is expiring so that we can do the things that the people of the state expect us to do. And if we don't raise that revenue, the legislature has the responsibility to say, what is it we don't want to fund? What are we not going to do? And given the chance to do that in the regular session, the House said, let's just eviscerate Medicaid. The Senate said, let's just eviscerate everything else, because the answer is you're going to eviscerate some things if you don't have that much money. You're going to make them go away.
A lot of pundits, a lot of analysts over the last week or 10 days have said that the governor, that the Senate budget that they voted on, that there is now a rift between Governor Edwards and his backers on the Senate side. Is there a rift? Is there a problem? Can he still count on them?
Sure. I don't think there's a rift. I mean, obviously, everybody understands this process, and everybody understands what goes on, and we objected to the Senate's response to an irresponsible budget by we suggested just ignore it. It's not going to work, and you know it's not going to work, so let's not continue this pretend process, as the chairman said. But the Senate wanted to show that it could enact a budget as well, and point out how ridiculous it was to think that we could continue to fund things without the money. And so that's why the Senate did what they did. There is no rift between the governor and the Senate. The process is the process, and that's what happened.
But you, just to wrap up, you guys are confident that the governor is confident that whatever revenue shortfalls there are can be made up in this 14-day special session.
Yeah, there's no question they can be. The legislators just have to decide how much money they're willing to raise and to match expenditures with revenue. And if they don't raise enough revenue to fund the things that need to be funded, they need to say in the budget what it is they're willing to cut.
Anybody reaching out from the Republican side on the House side, say theoretically?
Oh, yeah, I think there are discussions underway, and I think a lot of the Republicans recognize they've got to vote for some revenue, and I think the question is going to be how much. That's what the debate is going to be about, and we believe we need the $648 million to do what has to be done to fund the things that both chambers have said they want to see funded.
Jay Darden, can't thank you enough for your time. Hope you get a little rest this weekend before things crank back up on Tuesday.
Thank y'all very much. Have a good
weekend.
22 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on some heavy backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Airline Drive right now. And we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Hot today, partly sunny with a high near the record of 94 set in 1883. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
FM, 710 KEEL. Time for sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Auburn roughed up LSU starter Zach Hess for 5 runs on 6 hits and just 3 innings of work in an 11-4 takedown of the Bayou Bengals. Auburn's Will Holland led the Plainsmen with 4 hits and a pair of RBI to help pull his team into a tie with LSU in the SEC standings at 14-14 in league play. Louisiana Tech's David Leal allowed just 1 run in 7 innings to earn the win in an 11-3 bashing of Old Dominion. The Bulldogs dominated Conference USA's last-place team from the jump, with former Bird Yellow Jacket Steele Netterville ripping a 2-run homer in the bottom of the first. Parker Bates added a 2-run blast in the 3rd inning to make it 4-1. Both Bates and Netterville finished with 4 RBI. Northwestern State overcame a 2-0 deficit to post a 6-3 win at New Orleans. The Demons have won 11 of their last 14 games to move into a tie for 3rd place in the Southland Conference standings. Ridge Heisler earned the win despite giving up a pair of runs in the bottom of the first. And the White Sox rallied to beat Texas 4-2 in Chicago. It's the first win at home since May 3rd for the Sox, who have the worst record in baseball and worst 40-game record in franchise history. But they were better than Texas, even if it was just for one night. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Give me a second. I'm looking here. 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. So is there any late word, say late yesterday or even this morning? I know you were talking about getting more texts and more emails from those in law enforcement regarding the sort of cooperative decision between the city of Shreveport and the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office for Caddo Sheriff deputies to sort of temporarily, well, as Sheriff Steve said, we'll do it till we don't do it, to temporarily lend a hand in the policing of Shreveport.
Yeah, the latest text I got had to do with the staffing, and this was from let me just say, a higher up in the department.
Can you be a little more specific? Can you narrow that down?
Let's just say lieutenant or above. How's that? Does that sound okay?
Wow.
Somebody long-term been there. SPD needs leadership that knows how to police.
Pardon me just a second. This is going back to some statements made. You had read a message that you'd gotten from Sergeant Michael Carter, who is the police union boss.
Right.
And bluntly put, a couple of cops I had spoken to earlier in the week, and they said it was that the mayor agreeing, the mayor calling in, the mayor asking for assistance, the fact that Caddo Parish deputies will be lending a hand is, in fact, in their mind, an insult to the SPD. Am I overspeaking?
Absolutely.
I don't think I am.
Fewer than 170 of the 500 officers are assigned to patrol, and now they embarrass us by demanding the sheriff help. Why not staff your own department correctly? Yowza.
And I got this message from a Shreveport police officer earlier this morning. Patrol. See, they had said, the policeman we had spoken to, Sergeant Carter, in his message to you, what was it? Take off the handcuffs. Let us do our job.
Mm-hmm. You bet.
That was the phrase that we've heard a lot. Let us do our jobs, meaning that there are a lot of guys, a lot of women in the Shreveport Police Department who feel that they are being held back, being stifled in the performance of their duties.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the text. Patrol is terribly understaffed. They pillage patrol to staff desk positions. Think of this now when I read this to you. Think about this in terms of what Erin just said. You know what? Let's go to break. I'll read this whole thing when we come back, okay?
That's redonkulous.
29 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Senator John Kennedy is less than 15 minutes away. Right now, traffic time. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Greenwood Road and Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we're still dealing with some heavy backed-up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Airline Drive right now. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Hot today, partly sunny with a high near the record of 94 set in 1883. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Lawmakers pass a budget that fully funds the Department of Health but reduces 9 state agencies' budgets by 24%. It cuts TOPS to 70% coverage and slashes higher ed spending. Democrats have raged against the bill, calling it immoral and calling on lawmakers to reject any budget until a special session arrives to plug the $648 million shortfall. But Cameron Henry, the appropriations chairman, says the state has to work with the money it has available and prioritize.
We have to use the money that we have to cover the priorities, and providing services to the elderly obviously is something that members want to do and feel is a priority.
The budget is now on the governor's desk. State Representative Gene Reynolds of Minden stepping down from his legislative seat. He's landed a state job and will oversee state parks. Reynolds says his resignation from the House will be effective June 4th after lawmakers wrap up a special session that begins on Tuesday. Caddo has a new director of animal services. Travis Clark wins the unanimous vote of the commission. Clark previously worked in several different posts at Caddo Animal Services before taking a director's job in Stockton, California. Clark will officially take over on Monday. Over the next few days, George's Pond at Hirsch Coliseum will host Miss USA and Miss Teen USA. It's the first time ever the two events were held in the same city at the same time. Today at 4 is the start of the Miss Teen USA Finals. Now that event will be streamed live on the Miss USA Facebook page. The Miss USA pageant will air live on Fox Monday night at 7. The event's expected to generate at least $4.5 million for the city. Business owners meet with the MPC for a second time. Matt Parker with that.
Dozens of professionals, contractors, and business leaders are calling for changes to the Metropolitan Planning Commission in Caddo Parish at a second town hall meeting attempting to incite change at the MPC. The group voiced concerns that red tape and lack of action is killing business in Shreveport. They say the MPC causes projects to take too long to complete, which ends up costing them too much money. They made over 50 suggestions of ways the MPC could operate better and make it easier to do business in the city. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A deadly school bus crash in New Jersey has left a community in mourning. Governor Phil Murphy says the school bus was filled with students on a class trip when it crashed.
There were 38 students and 7 adults on the bus, including the driver. A total of 43 people of that 45 were injured and transported to area hospitals for treatment.
1 student and 1 adult died in the crash. In an amazing feat, 6 Caddo Parish students scored a perfect 36 on their ACTs. All but one of the students attends Caddo Magnet High. The other attends Byrd. A war of words continues between 2 college football head coaches. More on that from Matt Napolitano.
University of Central Florida's football team declared themselves national champions following a 13-0 season that culminated in a victory in the Peach Bowl. UCF going all out, raising a banner at their home field, providing Knights players with championship rings. Nick Saban telling USA Today regarding Central Florida, self-proclaimed is not the same as actually earning it. Former UCF, now Nebraska head coach Scott Frost addressed Saban's remarks with KETV.
Alabama's probably got 1 or 2 championships they claim that weren't necessarily recognized by everybody.
Alabama has 17 national titles in football, but many of the early titles were before the modern polling systems existed, opening them up for debate. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
A Montana high school student disciplined for continuing to wear a Confederate flag sweatshirt after administrators requested that he stop wearing it. The 17-year-old was suspended after wearing the sweatshirt to the high school every day since last week. He says he wears it to stand up for students' First Amendment rights. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, short segment here, but I want to finish up a couple of sort of off the books, if you will. 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, Robert and Erin. A couple of sort of not so publicized, not publicized isn't the right word. I don't want to say anonymous either, but anonymous. Messages from Shreveport police officers about Caddo Parish deputies lending a hand, and it's kind of rubbed them the wrong way. Be that justified or not, that's how they feel. I know that is not, I know for sure, as he told us yesterday, that's not the intention of Sheriff Steve Prater. So read to me. You got this message yesterday from, I say officer, I don't mean like a patrol officer. I mean like somebody high up in the Shreveport Police Department. Read to me the first line or two about that, specifically about the numbers, because the officers have said to us, turn us loose, let us do our jobs.
Right.
Read to me the opening line or two of that text.
Fewer than 170 of 500 officers are assigned to patrol, and they embarrass us by demanding the sheriff help.
Okay.
Why not staff your own department?
Here is a text from a Shreveport officer I got earlier this morning. Patrol is terribly understaffed. They pillage patrol to staff desk positions, and it stretches patrol officers so thin that they are just flat worn out, so they don't have the time, nor the resources, nor the gumption to get out there and shake the bushes. I responded, Too many officers at desks? It sounds like cops are being plucked from the street to man office jobs. Do I understand that correctly? The response is, that is 100% correct. Almost daily, they put out advertisements in roll call about detective jobs and other desk-type positions. I respond, gross misappropriation of manpower to the detriment of all. And the response is, if patrol is the backbone of our department, we've got a hell of a case of osteoporosis. United States Senator John Kennedy just a couple of seconds away, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Ruben's here.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we're still keeping an eye on some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Hot today, partly sunny with a high near a record of 94 set in 1883. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.117 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Joining us for a little bit is United States Senator John Kennedy. Hey, Mr. John, welcome back to Keel. How are you today?
I am well. Thanks, guys.
Big vote yesterday, and I don't want to say you were you've been called one of the ones who jumped the fence. Let me bring everybody up to date. You voted yesterday to rescind a move made by the FCC, specifically Chairman Ajit Pai, to rescind the Obama-era net neutrality regulations. Let's start there. Tell us why. What was the biggest motivation, the driving motivation in your vote?
I think the Internet ought to be free. I mean, here's what happened. It's simple. They made it complicated. A year ago, the chairman of the FCC, which has jurisdiction over the Internet, a gentleman by the name of Ajit Pai, he changed the law. He said the new rule is that we're going to give to the cable companies or wherever you get your Internet the power to decide which websites download quickly, which websites download slowly, and which websites don't download at all. They don't have to show them to you.
So the more I paid them, the quicker my site would download, right?
Yeah. I mean, they could offer you packages, and you could pay more money. They ask you, they tell you to pay more money. And their response, and they also said, and if you don't like what our new deal is, just switch. Well, the problem with that is most people only have one Internet provider. They're in the free market. In America, about 19% of all Americans have access to one Internet provider that can offer download speeds of 25 megabits a second, which is the minimum you need. In Louisiana, there's 22% of our people have access to only one. So if the cable company comes in and says, if you want to watch Netflix, or if you want to look at Google News or Breitbart, you got to pay extra. They can't switch. And to me, the issue is real simple. How much do you trust your cable company? If you trust them, then you don't like the way of voting. If you don't trust them, or if you just figure they're business people, and they are, there's nothing wrong with it. Their job's to get more money for their shareholders, then you're going to like my vote.
But they said, they've said all along, we're not going to do that. We're not going to charge more. That wouldn't happen.
Hold on, kids.
Well, then they shouldn't be upset.
Let me go in the other direction, Mr.
I'm with you.
Isn't this, you're a free market guy, Mr. John. Isn't this more government oversight, and including price controls?
Yeah, but we don't have a free market. It's kind of like back in the 1930s. People have, of course, that's history, a long time ago, but 1920s, 1930s, a lot of people didn't have electricity in America, because the utilities said, "Man, we're not going to run a line out to Bucksnort, New Mexico, because it's not worth it." And the government had to, and there was no free market.
So, pardon me,
the government had to step in and say, "No, look."
Basically, this is this turning, and a lot of people have said this, turning the internet into a utility. Is that your stance?
They are. They're a utility in the sense that they have a monopoly, and they're a utility in the sense that internet is a necessity, like telephones, electricity, water. I don't want to regulate them half to death. I want them to just say a cable company doesn't have the right to tell you what you can watch on the internet. I mean, when I go to get a telephone, the telephone company can't tell me who I can call. And when I talk to them, they can't tell me what I can say.
Or charge you more for calling different people in the same place.
Yeah, that's all this is. And I don't see it as a Democrat or Republican issue. I see it as, do you trust or do you not trust the cable company? I'm not mad at the cable companies. Their job is to make money for their shareholders.
But John, pardon me once
in
again.
5 or 10 years, this won't be an issue, because we'll have 5G, which will be available to everybody. I hope it'll be available to everybody, and it's lightning fast, and then there will be competition.
But hasn't the internet worked just fine without net neutrality for X number of years?
Yeah, they say that, but the internet has changed so quickly. People say, well, it worked 10 years ago. Yeah, but there was no Netflix. There was no video streaming.
And isn't this just imposing rules that it's like the old swine flu joke, a cure for which there's no known disease?
Not for me. I mean, if then the cable companies say we would never do that, we would never make you pay more to go to Breitbart, or they say we would never take the position that we disagree with Breitbart and you can't watch it. Well, then what are they worried about?
Well, even one big one, AT&T blocked Skype because it was competing against their own service. There have been lots of instances.
There have been a bunch of instances that some of the cable companies don't like to talk about where they got caught. And the FCC slapped them down and fined them big time.
Your colleague,
and
Senator...
sometimes it was to get more money. Sometimes it was to block their competition. If you're a cable company and you own a company that makes movies that you can watch on the internet, the cable company may want to say, well, we're going to block Netflix, so you have to use our service. And you say, well, it's a free market. They ought to be able to do that. I agree if it were a free market.
Senator Ed Markey said, and I'm quoting, net neutrality is the free speech issue of our time. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it is free speech. I believe in freedom of connection. I think if you pay for an internet connection, you ought to be able to watch what you want to, as long as it's legal. I mean, you can't, certain types of pornography, that's unacceptable. But I don't think it ought to be up to the cable companies to say, well, you can't watch that. I mean, what could happen here, my worry, is that with cable TV, you got to buy certain packages. You can't just go in and say, I want that one, but not that one. I want that one, not that. They say these packages. And I'm afraid that that's what the internet's going to turn out to be if we give the cable companies this authority. And I don't think a lot of people don't like the cable packages. That's why you see people moving to Roku and Netflix and other services like that, so they can go around their cable company.
So what's the rest of the process? Off to the House side now? I know that there's talk about
the House, and then it'll go to the president. Now, the cable companies say that the president opposes the idea of a free internet, and he may. I mean, he's the president, and he has his own opinions. I've never heard him say that. I mean, I've never heard him say that it's okay for a cable company to tell you can't watch something on the internet unless you give them more money. I've never heard him say that.
Senator Kennedy running for governor?
I don't know, Erin. I really don't. I mean, I'm thinking about it, but I haven't made a decision. I will fairly soon, and you know, some groups. I mean, I know every politician says this, but some groups have come to me and said, "Well, we would like you to run," and they showed me polls, and the polls say I'd win. And they all, but the groups that did that said, "But you got to decide today." And I said, "No, I don't have to decide today." They said, "Well, somebody else may run." And I said, "Good. I like competition. I just ran against 14 people, 2 sitting congressmen and David Duke for the U.S. Senate. And if I decide 6 months from now to run, hell, I'm going to run.
So how many?
Who else is in the race?
How many times a day do you get asked that? That's why I was laughing. And you know, every time you come on with us,
gotta
there's
ask.
going to be a pause right at the end, and then Erin's going to go, "Well, John, thanks for stopping by, but you're running for governor, right?" So
well, look, I'm enjoying the Senate. I mean, it's frustrating sometimes because I want to gallop, and the place is set up that you just kind of have to inch along. But I'm honored to be there. It took me a long time to get there because I say what's on my mind, and I make enemies. I just made some cable companies mad at me. I'm not on AT&T's Christmas card list anymore. but you know, I think that's why people are sick of the swamp in Washington, D.C. It's just a bunch of baloney. I'd like to say something else, but I can't say it.
Woo. Senator Kennedy, thank you for your time, and we'll chat again soon.
Hey, guys, thanks so much, Erin. I hope you're getting some work out of Robert.
Yeah, a little bit.
A pleasure, Mr. John.
Right,
Thank you very
thanks.
much. 8:51. It's 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Ruben's ready.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we're still keeping an eye on some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Hot today, partly sunny with a high near a record of 94 set in 1883. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
You're listening to American Ground Radio's Morning Minute.
In an interview, Donald Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, said that it's time for the Mueller probe to end. But if they want to keep going, the Donald Trump's legal team is ready to rip them apart.
The bottom line to all of this is that sometimes in life you just got to take a stand and say no. No to continued deficit spending. No to government-run health care. No to higher and higher taxes. And no to a government witch hunt that has cost the American taxpayers millions of dollars.
All of this falls right in line with the Trump doctrine. If you treat us nicely, we'll treat you nicely. If you treat us badly, we'll treat you worse than you could ever possibly imagine.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL and streaming live at KEELnews.com.
Hey there, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Once again for Twin City Appliance. Online at TwinCityAppliance.com. That noise in the background you hear that sounds like a squirrel on meth is in fact Erin McCarty, whose refrigerator, thanks to Twin City Appliance, was recently restored to 100% operative fat.
It's humming along.
So tell me about it.
I've got ice in my ice maker now. I hadn't had ice in my ice maker for
Really?
so
I
long.
hadn't heard that.
Ice in my ice maker.
I've heard that. Yeah.
I'm really excited. And they fixed it so quick, just like that. Snappy wappy.
But if something else should go wrong between now, let's see, it's about 21 or 22 days left in your 30-day guarantee.
30-day guarantee. They'll come back, and there's no charge for that additional call. Absolutely great. And I'll see Colton. He's my guy. You have the same guy who's going to come out. And you know what? If you don't have you can call Twin City Appliance. They can fix your ice maker.
And any other major appliance in your home, from washers and dryers to microwaves, trash compactors, yes, even your ice maker. I knew that was coming. Twin City Appliance. Call 318-688-0253 or online at TwinCityAppliance.com.
Ice maker.
Just a couple of seconds here. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Santa Fe High School, we haven't really said a whole lot about
Texas area?
Yeah, I think so. A high school placed on lockdown after reports of an active shooter.
No details.
Yeah,
literally no details.
They've locked down the school. We've seen some kids coming out. Don't have any word of anybody hurt, do we, Matt? Nothing
literally
yet.
Zero info, and just saying that they're on lockdown. And
a student did tell ABC 13 they did witness a female student being shot, but again, not confirmed at this point.
8:57, back Monday morning, 6 till 9. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Kim Commando.
1970s, millions of Americans, hobbyists and journalists mostly, have listened to police scanner radios. But some police departments are saying those days are over. Kim Commando with your Friday Consumer Tech Update. A few months ago, after the mass shooting in Las Vegas, the Metropolitan Police there began encrypting all of its two-way radio traffic. To them, the reason was simple. The bad guys monitor police radio frequencies to help them commit crimes. Wilmington, North Carolina, Pueblo, Colorado, and Knoxville, Tennessee are doing the same. Only a few years ago, to listen to a scanner, you had to go out and buy the scanner and then learn how to use it. Today, you can listen to thousands of scanners, police, fire, marine radio, airport traffic control towers, all over the world, available on your smartphone with free apps like Broadcastify and Police Scanner 5.0. You can expect most law enforcement agencies to follow suit as it becomes difficult to argue that open frequencies actually serve public interests. I'm Kim Commando. With today's high-definition screens, the designers put all their efforts into stunning video quality. But audio dialogue is often hard to understand, so you're constantly changing the volume. The answer is revolutionary, Aftermaster Pro. With Aftermaster Pro, you'll experience a new level of sound clarity. Aftermaster Pro transforms television audio from virtually all audio-video sources, raises and clarifies dialogue and vocal levels, while making all surrounding audio sounds substantially clearer and leveled. Simply plug into your TV using the included HDMI cable. Everything becomes crisp, clear, and understandable using your TV's existing speakers or soundbars. Aftermaster Pro is no bigger than your smartphone. Visit AftermasterPro.com, use promo code KIM, and hear what you've been missing. You'll get $25 off this breakthrough technology. AftermasterPro.com, promo code KIM. That's AftermasterPro.com, promo code KIM.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Hot today, partly sunny with a high near the record of 94 set in 1883. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.